For 3 whole decades, one band has managed to not only survive the crazy shifting tides of the music industry, but has consistently reinvented itself while staying totally true to its core. This is the story of Garbage, a band built on pure studio wizardry, fronted by an absolutely unforgettable icon, and defined by this incredible will to endure. Okay, let's get into it. So, first things first, we've got to talk about that name. Garbage. It's provocative, it's memorable, and you have to ask, where on earth did it come from? Well, like a lot of things with this band, there's not just one simple answer.
And here they are, the two competing legends behind the name. On one hand, you've got that classic rock and roll story. A friend hears their early demos and just bluntly says, "This shit sounds like garbage." But on the other hand, there's this more, poetic version found in producer Butch Vig's own journal. After a really long, tough creative session, he wrote, "I hope that all this garbage will become something beautiful." So whether it was a blunt insult or an artistic wish, both stories kind of nail the band's whole vibe, taking messy, chaotic ideas and turning them into something powerful and beautiful.
So how did this all even begin? Well, before they were a rock band, they were absolute masters of the recording studio, and that's where this story really kicks off. See, before Garbage was even Garbage, there was Smart Studios. This was the creative home for producers Butch Vig, Duke Erikson, and Steve Marker. Now, Vig, of course, became a music legend for producing Nirvana's game-changing album Nevermind, but after that massive success, he and his partners wanted to do something totally different. They had this idea for a band that would work kind of like a remix project, taking bits and pieces from pop, rock, electronic music, and just smashing it all together. They had the sound, they had the skills, they had the studio. They were just missing one crucial piece, a voice. And the search for that voice ended in the most perfectly 90s way possible, late-night TV. Steve Marker was just chilling watching MTV's 120 Minutes when a music video for a band called Angelfish came on. He was instantly mesmerized by their singer, a Scottish musician named Shirley Manson, and he just knew, right then and there, that they had found their missing piece. But, it wasn't exactly that simple. As Shirley Manson herself admits, the first time they all actually got in a room together, it was a complete disaster. It just didn't click. She wasn't used to being a session musician, the whole thing was super awkward, and for a minute there, it really seemed like it just wasn't meant to be. But what happened after that terrible audition changed everything. The group just hung out, they started talking about music, and they realized they loved all the same stuff. So convinced it could work, Manson asked for another shot. And this time, her understated, kind of quiet vocals on an early version of their song Queer were the absolute perfect contrast to their super dense, layered productions. And just like that, Shirley Manson packed her bags, moved all the way from Edinburgh, Scotland to Madison, Wisconsin, and Garbage was officially born. So, with the lineup finally complete, the band didn't just find its footing, no. They created a sonic boom that would just echo through the entire decade.
I mean, just look at this moment. You can feel that raw energy of the mid-90s alternative scene. They were a band that looked and sounded like absolutely nothing else. And believe me, the world was about to take notice in a huge way.
And the success was just staggering. In a mid-90s world dominated by grunge and Britpop, their sound felt completely revolutionary. This slick, sample-heavy, electronic-infused rock was something totally new. Their 1995 debut album was this slow-burn monster that eventually sold over 4 million copies. And their follow-up, version 2.0, was even bigger, hitting #1 in the UK. They were an absolute juggernaut, earning rave reviews and a bunch of Grammy nominations. And you can really see that unique formula at work in one of their signature hits, Stupid Girl. Look at its chart performance here, top 5 in the UK, top 25 in the US. It was just that perfect blend of an alternative edge with this undeniable pop hook that just completely took over the airwaves. So what's the ultimate sign that you've truly made it? Well, you get the call to do a James Bond theme. Their song For the World Is Not Enough was the final confirmation. Garbage wasn't just some cool alternative band anymore. They were a global cultural phenomenon. But as we've seen so many times, that kind of meteoric rise is incredibly difficult to sustain. The pressures of the industry and the pressures within the band itself started to take their toll, building towards an inevitable breaking point. So the new millennium brought a whole new set of challenges. Their third album, Beautiful Garbage, didn't match the massive sales of the first two, and then came a huge blow. Their label, Interscope, dropped them. Apparently, the label decided there was only room for one female-fronted rock band on their roster, and they chose to go with No Doubt. Internally, things were just falling apart, with communication completely breaking down.
And this quote from Shirley Manson, man, it's just devastating. She was 40 years old, she'd just been dropped by her record label, and she felt like everything she had worked so hard for was just finished. It was an incredibly low point, not just for her, but for the entire band.
So, the inevitable finally happened in 2005. They managed to get one more album out, but right in the middle of the tour, they just pulled the plug. They called it an indefinite hiatus to quiet down the rumors, but Shirley later admitted they were barely even speaking to each other. For all intents and purposes, it really looked like the end of Garbage. But this isn't a story about a breakup. It's a story of survival. Because after years apart, Garbage would come back, but this time it was going to be completely on their own terms. Their comeback all started with one massive move: breaking free from the system. They were done with the major labels that nearly broke them, so they founded their very own label, Stun Volume. This gave them back total creative freedom and really paved the way for their incredible second act. And since going independent, they've been on a roll. I mean, just look at this timeline. They've put out a steady stream of amazing, critically acclaimed albums, and each one is a testament to their renewed partnership. They aren't just a legacy act playing the hits, they are a vibrant, creative force with even more new music on the way. And let's not forget their legacy. Over 17 million albums sold worldwide. That number is more than just commercial success. It represents a lasting connection with millions of fans who have stuck with them through all the ups and downs. Look at them here, on stage in 2022. All four original members, still together, still making incredible, powerful music. It's such a powerful image of resilience. This isn't just a reunion tour. This is a band that never really died, but was instead reborn. Which kind of brings us to our final question. After all the multi-platinum highs, the crushing industry lows, and the big decision to rebuild everything from the ground up, what is it that allows a band like this to survive for 3 decades? Maybe it all goes back to that original idea from Butch Vig's journal, that relentless belief that you can take all the garbage, the noise, the chaos, the conflict, and turn it into something truly beautiful.